Hello everyone, it is Neverend, and I figured I would do something different today from the story videos, and my upcoming educational videos. Oh man, that water ball is frozen. Yeah, if you don't know, I'm out in my shed right now, recording this video. It is about 10 degrees. Anyways, this video is going to be more like a tutorial, and I'm just going to show you the ways around Medibang Paint Pro. And more or less, most art programs, and I'll just explain some of the stuff I've learned from doing this. So first of all, let's get into the basic things. We got your brush control over here, you can see right here. Now, one of our first things we're going to learn is, you see this pencil, right? It looks fine and all, but when you have a pen sharp, it kind of helps you straighten out the lines and curve it. So watch when I make a pencil circle compared to the pen sharp circle. And usually a lot of programs have tools like this. They might not all be under the same name, but they all act the same. Basically, they round out the edges for you. So you can have something like this compared to something like that. It just really helps out when you're doing bigger pieces. So that's one of the first things I've learned over the course of drawing. But another thing I've learned, it's actually quite recent, I've learned it about 3 months ago, is anti-aliasing. I'm not good with pronouncing, so we're just going to ignore if I pronounce that wrong. But you have this pencil mark right here, right? If we zoom in, it's kind of blurry. Well, say you wanted to kind of make something more rigid, you could go out here, and you zoom in, and you kind of have this pixelated look. And it's better if you wanted to make something more defined. Like, of course I'm using a pencil for this, but this compared to, one second, the thing with anti-aliasing might be better depending on what you're going for. And like, you may not see the difference at first, but if you're looking really hard into it, you can see there's a difference. And like, I know the drawings aren't the best, it's just something I'm just trying to hurry up with so I can show you guys examples of. Another thing that helps a lot of people is color palettes. So up here you can see the color palette quite nicely. You have set colors. So say you have the character you want to make, and he has to have a set color. You can just draw something like that, and say you want to have that color from now on, you can put it in your color palette, and you just have it from then on. Like, I'm not going to go into too much depth. It's just the basics right now. But here's another thing. Say you only wanted to, like a shading. A lot of people have trouble with shading. So we have this nice yellow right here, and we want to shade. Well, first of all, we gotta find a darker color. You might want to saturate it a bit more. So here's how you would go about that. You would, first of all, click under more tools and get the thing. Then you would kind of go to down a bit. And then you would, oops, you would go down a bit. And you would get the regular pencil tool. Oh, and then you'll go under layer, add. You want to clip it onto the last layer. And look, it's just right there. Now, a lot of people don't like this simple shading layer. There's a bunch of things you can do to fix that layer. Like, some people like to go into the filter settings and go under Gaussian blur, and you can set the value to whatever you want. Say we want, I think that would be good. And look, it blurs it for you. And you can keep doing that until you have a good enough little shading here. And go back into filter, Gaussian blur, probably about 5 would be good. And there you go, it's just a little shading trick there. Or you could, instead of doing all that, what I like to do most of the time, if you want to give it a more realistic shading, in my opinion, I like to go to the watercolor wet and just go like that, and you can just keep shading like that, and it kind of makes this filtered look. And then you can go under filter, Gaussian blur, and like maybe apply a 6 or a 5 to it. Like nothing too hard, because you still want to have it a little blocky. In my opinion, that's one of my favorite types of styles right there for shading. And okay, and whenever you do a clipping layer and choose to make a new layer, it's always going to have it on clipping, and you don't want to do that. Instead, you just want to go back over here and, ooh, wrong one. You want to go back and set it to a regular layer, and you can have a little smiley face. Another thing that you can do, if you didn't want to make a new layer here, which usually I do like to make new layers for shading, but if I didn't, like this one right here, say I set it to the wrong color, I didn't want that smiley face to be black, but instead I wanted it to be red. So I can go back here and not do anything. Oh, ooh, that's because I still have black on. I can go back to here, and I can just color right in, and it's all red. And like, as you start to mess with it, you'll find new ways to get around things. There's lots of ways you can do that part, and that's just some of the basics of it. Okay, another thing you can do is, say you wanted to have like a custom thing. Now, what I did was I went into a different, what's it called? I went into a different canvas, and I made this plaid pattern here. And now I added it to a brush, and now I can just paint the plaid pattern. Now, of course, I don't want it over there, but let me get to this first. So what you want to do is you want to go into here, and you want to select from file. Then you go to wherever you want to go, like if you want wherever you want to take a picture from. In my case, it's from my OneDrive. Go into my pictures, new folder, and then I can select what to make it from. And there is my plaid pattern I used. That's pretty much it for that one. Another thing is, if you just want to move layers around, like what goes on top, you can say this one goes here. Of course, that's going to mess it up a bit because that's clipped. But we want to move this plaid pattern down. Now it's behind it, and we can make a little plaid pattern here. Now, another thing I like to do for my artwork is to basically make a white outlining. And how I do that is I usually copy the layer that has all the color on it, and then I go to that, and then I have to expand it. Now, usually when I duplicate the layer, it's going to be the same size, right? So then all we have to do is transform this layer to make it bigger. So what you do to do that one is go to here to select, you'll press transform, and all you have to do is make it a tad bit bigger, possibly position it a bit, and then we'll say OK. You'll then go to, well, I use white, so I'll go to white, and you put protect alpha on the duplicated layer. Oops, I forgot I had that on. You'll put white on the duplicated layer, then you'll go down, put it under here, and it has a white little outline on it. Now mine's a bit too big. Like if it's a bit too big, you can go back in the transform, kind of size it down a bit. But yeah, that's how you really do that one. Now, a lot of people like to sketch their layers out beforehand, and usually when you sketch a layer out, let's just start a new file for this one. Say I was drawing Julius here, and I wanted to sketch a little layer out here. I would usually, first of all, zoom in a bit, and then I would go like that, and that. Now it isn't going to be perfect, but I'll go like that, and that, and that. And I'll have the little things, except I wouldn't put the eyes because, you know, it's a sketch layer. You usually just have your things here, just little body proportions. So that's basically the sketch layer here, and you want to make it so that you don't want to draw it on anymore. So over here near Protect Alpha and Clipping, you see a little thing called Lock. This makes sure that when you're drawing the new layer, which you're going to make right here, if you ever go back to this layer, you can't draw on it. So it makes sure that you're on the right layer here. So go back over here. And you just basically that's it. You just do a few up touches, add the features, and you made it from your sketch layer. Now, there is another thing, like, say I didn't want to delete the layer yet because I'm not done, I just want to see how the product looks without the layer. I can go over here, by the layer right here, you see where I'm tapping, and out to the left of it, you'll see the little icon here. If you press that, it won't appear. And you can press it again and make it reappear. Like I said, it's not very advanced, I'm just going over the basics. Now another thing you can do is, like, up here, you have these little tool sections that basically restrict you from editing, so you don't draw in certain places. For example, if I wanted to go behind here and add another layer behind all this, and make little stripes in my background, I could go like that. Give me 1 second. Gotta make my brush a bit bigger. So basically what you could do is you can go up here, and you could just make your little lines over here. And then go back. Just go like that. And it's just a good way to make yourself a simple little background. Or you could use the gradients tool. And I use this a lot in a lot of my works. And we go here to the gradients tool. Right here, switch to our other color. By the way, you can switch colors over here. Switch to our other color and make it blue. Go like that, and you get a little, it changes colors. Go up and down. You can do it either way, side to side. And you can even change the shape of it up here. Like if I wanted to change it to circular, as soon as I can click right, yeah, circular, I can make it like that. Or if I just wanted to make it foreground, we go back here before I even did anything, go like that. Now this really helps. This is going to be probably our last lesson of the day. This really helps when you have the magic wand tool. So say I wanted to select this individual color and paint it. But of course, there's more of them. Now, another thing you can do here is, like, you got this, right? But you want to add to it. You got one color, you got one stripe, but you want to add the other different colored stripes here. So let me just change my transition of a computer right fast. And what you do is you add by holding Shift and just clicking. Keep clicking. Of course, I have it on canvas when I should have it set to layer. So you click, and you got them all. Now on your phone versions, it will have the option beforehand, and you can select to add on the top part of the phone. But the computer version wants you to press it. Anyways, going back onto this tablet version, because it's a 2-in-1 computer, you will put on these right here, and instead of foreground, you'll have foreground background in the linear. Go like that. And now if we just go back to the magic wand tool so you'll go down here, and then you'll press Control and delete it, and you won't have control of it anymore. And then you'll have this nice little background. And of course you can do that for more things, like if you wanted to use your character's colors and make a gradients according to that, you could do that. And there's many other things, but that was just the basics. And you have your little shading layer here, or not your shading, your sketching layer here, and then you have all of this. So it's just a neat little tutorial here. I'll probably do more. If you guys want like more advanced tutorials, just tell me what to do them on, and I'll eventually do them all. So yeah, that's basically it for now, guys, and I'll see you next time.